Hello and welcome back to Land Rover Show. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and commenting. Much appreciated. Always like reading the comments. And so I got some pieces and parts, like the handbrake. It's painted up and put together. That's in another video. And I got these pieces and parts, like we got the four-wheel drive pieces and all this stuff. So before I start putting all this stuff in, which is going to be in this way, I'm going to start working on changing the transmission mounts. Transmission and the engine mounts up there. So, and cleaning the frame, because all the frame needs cleaned all along these edges here. Because if you remember way back, I stopped here because I couldn't get my grinder back in there. So I'm going to start cleaning here and this side back in here and taking the transmission mounts off. So that's what I'm going to do next. And all these bolts, they're so rusted for like the mounts. I'm just going to cut these off and cut these off. They're just regular nut and bolts right down here. The knees, I'll take these off and everything. So that's what I'm going to start on today and get this done. Get these off and I'll be back. Here we are underneath the truck. And then whenever I took the transmission mounts off, I screwed a 2x4 to another 2x4. And what this does, I have the floor jack sitting right here underneath, and the transmission sits a little bit higher than the transfer case. So by screwing it together with a piece of wood like this, you take it, put it up like this, and then see how it's pretty level for jacking holding the transmission up as I'm working. So that's a little tip right there. You just screwed them together and it came in perfect, lined up there. Alrighty, back to me talking. Okay, so I got the right hand side transmission mount off. I cut the 2 bolts down here and the mount and everything, and it has these 4 bolts here with locking tabs. Took those off, so I should be able to get inside here and clean all this up. All this that I couldn't get to before. So let's go over to the other side. Okay, this side, 4 bolts right here, the same. And over here like on the other side. So now, like on the other side, I'll be able to get in here and scrape and clean all these pieces off. I don't even know what that metal tab is for. But I could clean up all this. Clean and paint all this and clean the cross member as well going across here. All right, here are the transmission mounts. These brackets are super heavy duty. I'm really surprised how heavy duty they are. But the transmission mount went on here, and then this went on to there like that. And these 2 pieces look very similar to each other, but they're actually a little bit different. So what I did is I'll put a zip tie with the same color on there so that I know once I clean these and I put them in the cleaner, I can just throw them into the purple power or simply green, and I don't have to worry about matching them back up again. And plus I can hang it to paint it with the zip tie. So works on 2 levels. So I don't mix them up. So I don't mix up this bracket with this bracket, because they're actually, you can see they're a little bit different from each other. So, the transmission mounts, you could see over time, they've actually misshaped. They've taken, gravity kind of took over these guys and pushed them down. And this one actually is kind of almost breaking apart from the rubber piece to the metal piece here. So, and this is, I think, is interesting too, but you see how there's purple paint on there? Or purple, maybe that's the anti-seize from the factory. I don't know. Maybe you guys might know that. But there's kind of like a purple or reddish purple piece on there. Oh, there's a little part number on there too. Right here. Interesting. Okay, so transmission mounts are off. I started cleaning the right side of the frame. And it's turning out pretty good so far. So then now I got in here and cleaned down in this bracket up on top of here a little bit. And I could go all the way over and scrape inside here. And this was actually completely packed with mud and dirt all down inside the frame right here. And the frame's actually in really good shape. And there's nothing I need to fix or nothing. So that's pretty good. So I guess the mud and the dirt kind of preserved it through this area. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I also took off the brake line that went down through. So that's out of the way. So this side, right side, is pretty much cleaned up. I also did the transmission. I cleaned this up with the wire wheel as well around here. So, okay, so I got both sides all cleaned up, and I got core seal in there drying all along the frame and everything. And if you remember before, there was like a little tab right here. And this tab that was here was for whenever the diesels had two 6-volt batteries together in the early ones. There, one was underneath the driver's seat, well, left-hand side, we'll say. The other one was in the engine compartment. So they were actually put together in series so they could get 12 volts and more cranking amps for the diesel. So now that tab, I took the tab off because, and the line, because I just have one battery up front to start it up, which one big, huge, heavy-duty battery. So anyways, so that's what that little tab was for here. Was ran the electrical heavy cables over to the front of the truck. Okay, so anyways, so this is all done. Core sealed where I could reach on both sides, and there it's drying right now. So let's go over to the workbench. Actually, we're not going to the workbench, but we'll go over to here. So I got the transmission mounts. They're all cleaned and ready for primer. Okay, so I'm about to paint the transmission mounts and the frame. And the last time I did the frame, up here I just did regular Rust-Oleum, and then the side I used a hardener and acetone. So it made it a little bit, it dried a little faster and everything. So it made, I guess it didn't seem so soft. You know, Rust-Oleum, when it dries, it gets kind of soft. So what I did is I talked to one buddy of mine. He actually sprayed Rust-Oleum on a guy's car and see his painting, what am I trying to say, his mixture. So what he did 4 parts of Rust-Oleum, 3 parts acetone, and 1 part of calistic hardener. So I took a bunch of coffee cups and I measured out 4 ounces of water, and then I added 3 ounces of water and then 1 ounce of water. Then I marked a cup. So I marked a whole bunch of these cups, coffee cups, so you got tons of these things. So I can just mix up a batch of paint and paint it on and then just throw this away. And I go to Harbor Freight and buy these 1-inch paint brushes. There's like $10 for, I think, 30 of them or something, or 20 of them or something. It's really dirt cheap. So then I just throw the whole thing away because I'm not messing around with saving paint and everything. And plus I brush all my paint on. So I'm just using the flat black, regular flat black. That's what I'm used on the whole chassis so far. And this is, like I said before, this is the first time I've used this. It's the second time that I'm going to use it. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I got the transmission mounts put together, and according to, you know, I kept together the correct mounts with each mount. So I did a little test fit over there, and these are, they line up pretty good. So I'm going to be putting the petrol. If you remember in my other videos, I talked about transmission mounts and engine mounts in my unboxing video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the petrol one. And okay, so I'm going to use the petrol ones because they're exact same size as the ones I took off. So petrol ones, according to the book or whatever, is petrol. So what I did is this side, once it's bolted in, this bolt, you won't be able to reach it. So I cranked it down pretty tight on there, but I left this one loose because I'll be able to reach it from the top. You can still kind of spin it while I line up everything to line up the bolts. I did the same thing over here. Cranked that one down real tight and left this one just a little bit loose, and I could tighten it up once I get the bolts in there. So Got the nuts all done. I'm going to reuse the locking plates. They're still in pretty good shape. You should replace them. Of course you should replace them. But I'll be reusing them, which should be fine. But I'm going to go and install these back onto the engine and transmission. Okay, so I got the transmission mounts in, the rear ones, bolted down, all locked down. Also, I forgot, don't forget to install your handbrake tab right here that goes underneath this nut. I forgot to do it, so I found it in my parts that I'm going to be painting and cleaning. So don't forget to put that on. So this side's done. Let's see over there. That side's all done. Tighten down this nut, the top nut, and you can see how I was mentioning about how you can reach this one. You won't be able to reach the one on the inside once it's down, but once I got in there, I had to move and jack it up, move it this way, that way to get these bolts to line up. So it was kind of tough to do. So you can see over here too, chassis all painted with the Rust-Oleum black all along here, and it's all done. So this area is all done back here. So I'm pretty happy how it turned out. The next step is going to be doing the front transmission mounts up here. I started taking them off already, but we'll talk about more of that in the next video. And you can also see I started taking the shifter off and all these pieces. So that'll be coming in the next videos. So thank you very much. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and the encouraging words down in the comments. Everything's coming together pretty nice. I'm pretty happy. And actually, now I think about it, this is the last bit of the chassis I would need to paint. So actually the whole chassis is actually painted, except for the front transmission mount areas, which I'm going to be doing. But other than that, that's the only parts that was left to paint were these ones. So we're done. And that's amazing in itself. Okay, so enough of me babbling. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, share, comment below, and thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.